demonstration of my Mutibo app. I'll first start up the server. Didn't work. Try this again. So this is my Spring server. I'm just starting it up, and as you can see here, what it does is it goes out to the internet. It gets the movie information from the moviedatabase.org, and right here you can see it loading the data from the internet, from the movie database. There's only a few movies loaded. I'm just going to it'll make it easier for testing. So now I'll start up Mutibo. My Mutibo project is an Android Studio project. And it says it's using Creative. It takes a minute or two for it to start up. So my Android emulator is started. It was an unlock screen, and this is the login screen for my application. You can see I've got the server name. Use HTTPS. I am using OAuth2 here, and I need to type in a username and password. If I type in the wrong username and password, it gives me an error saying login failed. And you can see the stack trace here. Login failure unauthorized. Okay, so I'll give it a valid username. Now my usernames are hard coded on the server. There's just 5 users, user 0 through 5. So that time, since I'm able to get to the main menu, the authentication was successful. All the options from the main menu are only available to authenticated users. So I'm just going to go through the requirements for the assignment. So you'll see my design doc here. So we've already shown you the app supports multiple users via individual user accounts. Like I can type in user 0 instead of user 0. If I go back into user 1, sometimes it's a little slow, but you can see I still got to the authentication page. So with this user, I can play a game. When you click on the title, see it downloads 4 movie titles. Basically, the way this works is I pick 3 movie titles from the same movie genre and 1 from a different genre. And this one here, this set should be pretty obvious. You get 3 Christmas movies and then 1 USC. So I would assume that's you got to pick the one that's different. You can see that's correct, and I get a point. Okay. I'll go back to the main menu. I can show you what options I have. There's 2 options, either to turn on or off sound effects or reset the user score. I'll demonstrate those later. So continuing with the requirements, the next requirement is app contains at least 1 user-facing function, available only to authenticated users. I think I've already shown this. I've shown that my main menu can only be accessed through for an authenticated user. On the next requirement, app comprises at least 1 instance of each of at least 2 of the following 4 fundamental Android components: activity, broadcast, receiver, service, and content provider. The app itself uses 4 activities. I'll show those here. I think that's the wrong project. To get to the Mutibo project. A help activity, which is the help screen. A login screen activity, which is the screen that allows the user to log into the application. The main menu, which contains 3 options: play Mutibo, get access to the options menu, and also the help page as well. So those are my activities. Now what I use for the background tasks are I use an async task to actually download the movie information from the Spring server. Okay, and that's utilizing this callable task interface. And then I also use the async task to download the movie posters as well. Downloading of the movie posters is separate from the downloading of the movie titles and genre information. Basically, what happens is when you click on Play Game, it first downloads the movie titles and then fills in the pictures after it downloads all the titles. Okay, I felt that was better than trying to maintain the images on the server as well as the other movie information. The only thing I maintain on the server, I maintain the URLs, and then the application actually downloads the posters from the internet. Okay, so proceeding with the requirements. The next set of requirements is app interacts with at least one remote host or Java Spring-based service, and again, that is my active Spring server. That's an Eclipse project. Just kind of give you a tour of the basics of how things are set up here. I've got my Capstone Android Mutibo movie application, and that is the main Spring, I guess, Spring Boot part of this that loads all the necessary services that I'm now using. I have an authentication class or set of classes that implement the OAuth 2. I have what I call a client, and since you got two clients in here, one for the movie information and then one for the user, the movie information or web services that the client uses to access or to get the movie data, get random movie set, get server random movie set, set thumbs up, gives a thumbs up for the movie set, thumbs down, sets the thumbs down or the for the movie set. And then I just have an authenticate method, which after the user logs in, I call this just to validate that the login has been successful. And then if the login has been successful, I proceed to download the movie information. If you choose Play Game, the user information is contained in this set of web services. And here I have the following methods: the ability to set the user score or get the user score. It's also reset the user score. And also to get the current sound on or off option, or to be able to set the current sound on or off option. I don't keep a lot of user data, just basically get the user ID, the score, and whether or not the sound effects are turned on. So continuing with the requirements, next requirement is app interacts over the network via HTTP. Again, the application actually uses HTTPS. As I mentioned before, uses OAuth 2 to authenticate, and then it calls a set of basically it calls a set of web services that are on the Spring server, and I just described those previously. The next requirement, app allows users to navigate between 3 or more user interface screens at runtime. Well, the first page is the login page here. When the user logs in, he has access to 3 things. He can play the game, you can select the various options, or you can select the help menu. That's the second screen. And I guess the third screen would be the Play Game, okay, where it goes into the game and it displays the movie set for him. Okay, the next requirement, apps must use at least one advanced capability or API from the following list covered in the Mocha specialization. And when I'm using it, basically I just use some simple sound effects for gameplay. So once the user starts playing a game, when he selects a movie, and I don't know if you can hear that through my microphone or not, but it does play a sound effect. Okay, when he selects one of the movie titles. Hopefully you can hear that. I'm not too sure if you can or not. In continuing with the requirements, apps must support at least one operation that's performed off the UI thread and one more background threads or a thread pool. And I might have mentioned already that I just use an async task to download the movie information. I'll just give you a quick view of that. Play Mutibo. This is my main class that service to download the movie posters. This is taken from, I think, one of Professor White's examples, or Professor Schmidt's, where I create this call. I can create a service, which is the download bound service async, and then when Mutibo, when the user goes into play Mutibo, one of the things it does is it goes in and just creates four callback methods, or invokes four callback methods to download the movie posters. And this is the main function, the main method, download movie posters. And you can see it's pretty basic stuff. I grab the URIs that I downloaded from the Spring server, and then just do it to download it. I use that URL to eventually download the image through these async services, or the bound async services. And again, now this is taken from one of the examples that Professor White or Professor Schmidt gave. Okay, and then to download the titles and other movie information, I actually use an async task. And again, this I think was taken from one of Professor White's examples, where this user service dot get score gets the user score when we come in when we start, and it gets a score from the Spring server. It sets the score after every time the user plays a round, and if the user selects the thumbs up or thumbs down for the movie set, there's the web service set the thumbs up and set thumbs down. It gets again, I think I mentioned these earlier when I gave a brief tour of the brief show of the Spring server. So basically, I'm fulfilling this requirement via two methods, using async tasks and then using a bound service. This concludes part one of my screencast. I've basically covered all of my basic requirements, and then in the next video I'll discuss the functional requirements for my project.